Yeah, number one, what a great game. It's college football's special. And the guys on both teams fought their entire hearts out and worked really hard. Give Wake Forest credit. Number one, they scored a bunch of points on us, and then when we came back and went ahead, they came right back and gave themselves a chance to win at the end of the ball game. But for a year and more than a half here, we've come back and not won, and come back and not won, and come back and not won. So this is a huge step forward for us that we can play a game where we didn't play well on defense in the first half, made some adjustments, came back out and played much better on the second half, and had one of the best offensive performances that I've ever been around. We get mad at them now when there is a stop. That's how good they've been. So really, really proud of these guys. I thought we took a huge step forward today because we didn't come close. We didn't lose and talk about it within 5 or within 7 or within 3. We actually won. And that's something that we hadn't been doing. I thought the biggest difference in the first half and the second half defensively for us was third down. We could not get off the field on third downs in the first half. And in the second half, I think we had 4 or 5 3-and-outs and did a tremendous job. We also left some turnovers on the field. We had our hands on a couple of balls that we should have gotten. And we've got to do a better job of intercepting the balls. And offensively, it is what it is. We weren't rushing the ball well in the first half, but I just saw that when the thing flipped, we ran the ball better in the second half, so much better that we outrushed Wake Forest. And that's one of the reasons I thought we were in trouble at halftime. We were not consistently running the football. And the other thing is we continued to play a lot of young people on defense. And I caught myself. I looked out there some when the game's on the line, and I see 5, 6 freshmen out there, and I'm about to get on the phone and say, take them out, man. This is a critical time in the game. Get those young ones off the field, and I didn't. And then I'd look up, and Kevin Hester gets a tackle for a loss, and Jaquarius Conley gets a sack, or Kamen Ruckers made a tackle for a loss. So we'll just continue to play those guys, and every snap they take should help them better as we go through. But really, really proud of the guys, really happy for them. They're happy. A lot of things to fix. We say that every week, but at this stage in our program, it's going to be that way. And now it's hard to win. You got to find ways to win. And defense seems to have become find a stop, get off the field somehow. If you give them a field goal, it seems like that's okay now because that cost them 4 points because most people are scoring touchdowns. So I'll answer your questions, but I don't think I've ever been prouder of a second half comeback by a team.
All right, thanks, Coach. Our first question today will come from Bridget Condon.
Congrats on the win. I want to first get your perspective on Sam's performance, but also for him to have that record-setting performance and be able to get a team win. We've seen him play well in some games that you guys have lost, but to be able to celebrate both at the same time, what's that like?
I think it's the biggest thing. Sam and I have talked a lot about a legacy for a guy like him, and his legacy will be how many games he wins. And that's what quarterbacks are remembered for. Well, he had so many touchdown passes. How many games did you win? And especially how many quarterbacks can be down 21 and lead their team back to win and keep their confidence. Even when we had a couple of 3-and-outs, I think, to start the second half, we didn't do as well, or the first series of the second half after we gave up 3. And Sam is about winning. He's about the team, and it's probably a really good trait, but he is so level with his emotion. He never shows any emotion either way. He's always positive with the guys. He always wants to pick them up, but you never see him this way. And that's a great trait for a quarterback. He always stays even keel in a positive way. And I can't say enough about his ability to run now. There was a 3rd and 10 on our last drive that he makes with his legs, and then the quarterback draw was a great call by Coach Longo, but also Sam makes a couple of people miss, and we couldn't have done that last year.
All right, let's go over to Josh Graham.
Hey, Coach. I'm just curious, on the sideline in the huddle, is there a point in the 21-point comeback where you felt the tide starting to turn? Is there a specific moment?
I think so, Josh. Weirdly enough, when we held them to 3 points to start the second half, I thought that's progress because we hadn't stopped them at all. And then we got the 3 and out, but we held them again. And then I thought, okay, defense is coming along. Come on, offense, don't go to sleep on me. So I really kept talking to the guys about we have to change the momentum in this game. Sam Hartman was so hot. He was like our Sam. And when you stop their running game, it makes their RPO game much more difficult and puts a lot more pressure on Sam Hartman. But he also had a tremendous performance. But I thought that was probably early third quarter, Josh, is when I felt it turning.
All right, our next question will come from Alyssa Ray.
Hey, Coach, when offenses are scoring as fast as they have been, what does that do for the defense as far as taking a toll on them physically, and what did you think of their second half effort?
It's a great question, Alyssa. I thought their second half effort was really good, so much better than the first half, and we did that against them last year. I don't know if it's the Wake Forest offense, and it takes a while to get used to that delayed run action that they have with their RPOs because it's very difficult. But I think a huge difference is the fact that we're playing so many more people. So today, I just looked a few minutes ago. We had the ball 83 plays. They had it 91. Last year, Strobridge and Crawford would have had to play all 91. And it'll be interesting to see the differential in the number of plays that each one played today. And we had the ball 31 minutes and 12 seconds compared to their 28:44. So that's a lot. The games are getting long. We're seeing some 3:45 and 4:15 games. So you've really got to play a lot of people, and we're forcing that now on our defense. And we got to remember, Brian Anderson didn't play today. Don Chapman was still limited, but Brian Anderson's one of our best players, our leader. He makes every call. So Curran Johnson, we call him Q. He did a fabulous job today. Never started a game. And we mostly plays guard, and we threw him in there at center. And it'll be interesting to see how he did. But I didn't notice anything that didn't work on our offense. And the snaps were all good, so good for him.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Our next question comes from Brendan Marks.
Hey, Matt, congratulations on the win. I hope you can hear me.
Thank you, Brendan. I can.
Yeah. You mentioned that you have had that conversation with Sam about his legacy, and ultimately, a quarterback is going to be judged on how many games they win. What do you think Sam makes of his legacy right now, and how does this single performance change that as it currently stands?
You would have to ask Sam, and I'm sure you're going to talk to him today, but I would think that he is as proud as he's ever been of a comeback. He will not care about his numbers. He will not care about the touchdowns. When we run the ball and he throws it 22 times, his personality never changes as long as we're winning. That's all he wants. So, and he never, ever second guesses a call from Coach Longo. He never shows frustration on the field, which he could some. And I think that's really helped our team grow up because and none of them have a loud personality, especially on offense. They just all kind of do what Sam does. So you never know whether they're ready to play or not. But I think Sam would tell you, I want everything about me to be winning. And that's all I want. I don't care about anything else. He's never mentioned national awards. He's never mentioned us pushing him more. Brendan, he's only been about winning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, let's go over to Ross Martin.
Hey, Mack, you mentioned being better on third down. You mentioned playing some younger players. Anything else in terms of adjustments, schematic adjustments on defense in the third quarter and fourth quarter that you think stood out with helped y'all obviously come back and get the win?
Ross, we struggled some with coverage, and I'm not sure. 2 or 3 times we just left guys wide open, and we've got to go back and try to figure out what the miscommunication was. I was talking to Coach Bateman. He'll talk to you Monday about it. But we even put Tony Grimes in there as a high school senior and said, go, man, just go. And it looked like he did a good job. But I thought we had trouble. We weren't fundamentally sound with our techniques some in the first half defensively, and that's why they were bouncing out the backside, and that's why we had some creases up inside. All that got corrected at halftime. The guys started playing better, and maybe they weren't as tired because Wake Forest scores, but they keep the ball. And you look up, and the game's about over, and they're scoring points while they do it. But we can't. We've had a lot of changes in our secondary, and we've played so many people back there, and we're really inexperienced. But that's inexcusable. We can't have wide open people.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, next question comes from Greg Barnes.
Matt, kind of along those same lines, but this is the third time in 5 weeks the team has fallen behind by at least 21 points. I know the defense has struggled in the first half in a lot of those games. What's the key to getting out to a better start when you don't have to play near perfect in the second half?
I don't really know, Greg. It is not part of our game plan. I can promise you that. We don't go say stink the first half and get behind. And we've actually shown them the progression of the Florida State game and the plays that got us behind and how we got behind. We showed them the Virginia game, the things that we gave up that didn't give us a chance to win. I don't think there were as many of those today. It was more Wake Forest moving the ball. And we were disappointed we didn't get a chance to score right before the half with the call with the interception, or we would have been really tight at halftime. But that was such a critical call because it kept us from scoring at the half. We still had 2 timeouts in our pocket. But it also, they were going to get the ball to start the second half. So that's a 14-point swing right there. It's really put you in a difficult spot. But I would say that we've gone from winning 3 to winning 2 to winning 7 to being 6-3. And now we're at a great place because we can gripe about why we're behind some. So we're making progress. And I think that's good. I think probably we're not ready to play as good as we can every week, and that's the other thing. Today, at least, after we had an outstanding performance against Duke, we were able to win, and that's progress. But we've been this way, and we've talked about it every week. We talked about it as a team. One of the adjustments we've made is trying to play more people, and I think that helps us. But this will be a great video for us because it'll be a chance to show each player what you did well, but also this is why we got in trouble. And you can't do this. This is why we practice this, and we're still going through that transition period. But I'll also say that I got to give these kids credit that they played 4 rival teams in 4 straight weeks for the first time in school history. And they beat the 3 in-state rivals. And that's a huge accomplishment at this school and in this league. I also have to say that these guys they came back on July 15th, and then they started practice August 6th. And then we had the grind with the games delayed. And then we play Syracuse. Then we have 3 weeks off where we practice to get ready to go to Boston College. And then 7 weeks in a row. So this has been a tremendous grind, and it's such a credit to John Swofford, the presidents and chancellors and athletics directors in the ACC, that they figured out how these young guys could play and play safe, and they let us start when they did because some leagues now are having problems figuring out how do I cancel it, postpone a game, or do I have to cancel it, or are they still going to be able to have a full season? And a lot of people didn't think we would have 8 games, and very honestly, if the other team had been okay, we would have already had 9 games by now. So I think it's really amazing to see what these young people have done across the country to give us all some joy. And I think it's amazing what coaches have done. Coaches have managed this stuff unbelievably well, and I'm so proud of our coaches and our players.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you.
All right, Coach, that's all we have for you today. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I am really happy. I knew everybody knew that, but come on. You'll do better than I did.